Thank you, Wenning. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm glad we don't have a full house yet, but I bet we will. I would like to talk to you a little bit about workplace technology, namely digital technologies for job quality improvement and the work we have been doing in Portugal. I think you'll find it quite interesting. As many of you know, when we talk about trends in manufacturing and the industry, we always talk about technology, we always talk about efficiency, production cycles, or machinery. And usually we leave away the workers, the blue-collar workers, the collaborators, the operators on the shop floor. So what we try to do is come up with solutions that actually could incorporate the inputs from these people actually working with the technology. So as we believe, and as you might know, we are still a little bit far away from replacing all the people in the shop floor. We are not, or the machines are not doing all the work we can do. And actually what we found out recently is that Europe recognized that the value added for their own products is actually relying on people. So that's an important thing that we should keep people in the loop. So moving forward and to provide you somehow a motivation for this work, we have been facing now several threats. And this is, someone wrote that this is almost as the threat posed by climate change. We are facing lack of skilled labor. This is one important thing that we are missing now. Aging population, migration, and the challenges we have with languages, and of course, chronic disease. I will get this last one, the chronic disease, to give you this figure. I tried to get the figure from Germany, most recent one, and I found one from 2015. And actually, the mental health disorders in Germany go up to 35%. This is a huge number. In Portugal, we have closely the same, 30 to 33%. So as you can see, this is a huge number for these kind of disorders that in the end are prevailing in absenteeism, presenteeism, musculoskeletal disease, or sick leaves, and of course, early retirement. So this is something that we should, a number that we should keep on back of our minds, because it will make a difference for sure. And actually, European Commission is, or the experts are pushing European Commission for these concerns, how to relate with this, how to explain this. And one of the major achievements for the next years in Europe is to make Europe the center of gravity for good quality jobs. This is something that in the end encompasses sustainability on a more broader focus, like economics and social and also environmental. Not only focus on the environmental threats, but also economic and social. And there are two ways that actually is what I'm explaining about next 10 minutes. There are two ways, or we found two ways of addressing this challenge. So this is called the experts made, and one of them is, I will start by this one, is how to get reliable data from job demand, from the ergonomics perspective, and also the subjective well-being, how we report well-being while in the factory, for instance, while in a manufacturing space context. And the other one is how to collaborate with these people, how to cooperate, how to, as I was saying in the beginning, how to bring their knowledge to the development of technology. So I will start by the first one. And to do this, we forge Operator as a vision for the future of manufacture, where we try to reconcile not only productivity, but also ergonomics and well-being, and namely mental well-being. And we came up with solutions to combine quantitative and qualitative research. So we spent a lot of time in the shop floor. We developed sensors. I can show you after. We developed several sensors to measure these kind of activities and the environment and the context in the shop floor. And we spent a lot of hours. You can see here a lot of time we spent knowing this is a sewing factory in Portugal. We spent a lot of time with the sewers, understanding what they are doing, the jobs, their activities, and how this know-how, how we could capture the data and the know-how these people had into the technology. So that's the idea behind. So with the aim that in the end, technology would fit people and not the other way around, not people fitting technology. So that's the main goal of this. We did this ecological momentary assessment. So we developed this these sensors here. This is three simple buttons that allow you to report if you are feeling support, if you are feeling pressure, or if you are feeling any kind of pain. And then we combine all of this data with the data that we measure from the context, and we can see actually very nice patterns about what people are actually perceiving and what's actually happening in the environment. And of course, we tested this with people. We did a longitudinal study where people used this for several weeks. And in the end, this kind of technology and this kind of solution was deemed very useful and thoughtful by the operators themselves. We did, as I mentioned, we did also this environmental risk. We developed a specific sensor to measure this kind of parameters like light, noise, vibration, thermal comfort. So the idea was to actually combine afterwards these parameters with what people are reporting about, with feeling pain or feeling pressure or feeling support, and actually the questionnaires that people answered about this. I can tell you one nice story, a true story, that we found out that people were reporting in a part of a factory. People were reporting that they were feeling very hot. It's always hot, always very warm. And when we combined this with the data from the context, from the environment, we found out that it was the coldest part of the factory. So we are trying to figure out what is happening. So we understood afterwards that the person that was in charge of this part of the factory is actually putting much more pressure on the people, so people were actually feeling more warm. So actually what is perceived by people and what we can actually measure makes a huge difference. So that's why we need to come up with ideas to incorporate all of these things and get insights from that. So as the technology, we also tried to measure ergonomics and the movement by using inertial sensors, what kind of tasks of people are performing. And I can tell you that the results, the findings are truly incredible. Here I have an example of two operators, a more experienced on the top and a less experienced on the bottom. And as you can see on the top, the movement that is done by the most experienced operator is much more smooth, it's much more reliable. The repetitions, the several iterations are much more closer to each other rather than the one that is below, that's much less experienced. So in the end, also using this kind of data to train people and not to make sure that people don't learn from the bad habits from others, this also can be a solution. We found out a very nice thing, that very skilled workers performing a certain task are like sport performers or ballet dancers. They optimize the energy expenditure to perform a certain task. It's like a ballet dancer. So the movement is very smooth, and the energy they spent is the minimum that they can do. So in the end, combining all of these three perspectives gives us a very nice insights of what's happening on the shop floor. As I was mentioning, we combine all of these. I can tell you that we found out we knew in the beginning that this is very sensitive data. We are dealing with how people are performing in the shop floor. So in the end, if you provide some kind of data to the decision makers, they can just fire someone, or so you can imagine the implications that this might have. So we ensured that all the dashboards and insights and only the things that people wanted to report are can actually be seen by the decision makers. So we learned a lot of things, as you can see by this operator, this vision. We learned a lot of things about dealing with data or collecting data from the shop floor. But we wanted to know more. I have more lessons learned I can share if you are interested. I have the sync system a little bit more systemized with what you have learned. But you were trying to find how to collaborate further, how to learn more from the shop floor. And I can tell you, it's not an easy environment, right? It's a time-demanding environment. Everyone is busy. Everyone is working. It's not an environment prone for doing research or for doing exploration. So what can we do to learn from what can we see in the shop floor that allow us to learn from the experience of these workers? And we were trying to investigate worker-made artifacts. You know what this is? Is well, I have a few examples here, but those kind of things, you know, like people that a door that is always trying to shut and people that want to remain open, or the switch that always you need every 5 minutes you need to push it again to make it to make the light on. The books that you put behind your screen in the computer to make it higher. Those are the kind of things that we call it worker-made artifacts. And what we try to do is to find out this in the shop floor, and we came up with a framework to classify all these worker-made artifacts. So we categorize them in 4 categories: displacement, adaptation, extension, detour. I have here the explanations, but usually either they have the very same function and they differ on they are adapt, or they do a completely different function, or like I particularly like the air dryer to dry paint is something that we all see, of course. So we try to identify this in the shop floor and try to categorize this worker-made artifacts according to these categories. And what we managed to find out is that workers in the shop floor, blue-collar workers, are very creative. People are doing all kinds of things. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see it, but people are doing some kind of augmented reality here, or new tools for handling some to perform work, or a support for tools. So in the end, we managed to build a data set with more than 200 worker-made artifacts, categorized according that framework that I just presented. Data set is available. You can use it, and everything is categorized. So what people actually told us is they do this not only to improve ergonomics, but also to save resources to the factory, because they know that there's a lot of waste in that kind of process. So if I have this tool, this will help me for sure saving resources. So we are learning this also from them. And I invite you to have a look on the data set, because the examples are really, really great. Based on these needs, what we made, or we identify all of these needs, and what we made is was to came up with design briefs. So ideas of what you could do as a designer, what you could do for improving conditions on the shop floor. And we came up with these design briefs. We made 15 design briefs, and we handled them to our own research team. We handled them. Those are the results of some tools made by our research team. We handled them to students to try. So here are the design briefs, came up with ideas, came up with answers, and we also gave them to professionals. So here are the design briefs, came up with a solution for this problem. So this is something that actually, as I was saying, allowed us to come up with 15 design concepts. More important, it allows us maybe to come up with a new research approach, with a new way of needs analysis. These design briefs, if they worked, we know already at least 2 of them are working. If they actually work, this is a way to perform need analysis in the shop floor. We understood even better, as you can see, even better what collaborators are doing, how they are forging their daily activities to improve their job quality and the processes. But we wanted to do more. We want to engage them in actually designing technology for the future. And what we are doing as of right now is to invite them to design the future with us, design technology for the future with us. With the approach that I mentioned before, we are only giving an answer to the short-term challenges, and we need to prepare for future-term challenges and not the ones that are just tomorrow. So we are now starting to have a look to the future. I cannot tell you what the future is. We call it fictions yet. As of right now, we are calling it fictions. But we are just starting this, and what we are trying to do is actually to bring the blue-collar workers and not doing this classical co-design approach. The first thing we will do is training them with emerging technologies for the shop floor. We'll give them information and training on human AI interaction, for instance, or predictive maintenance. And only afterwards, we are inviting them, when they have the knowledge of this, what these tools means or this technology means, only afterwards we are inviting them to co-design with us. So we'll follow a speculative approach, a speculative design approach for these creativity workshops. And hopefully with the findings that you have, in the end we'll have some kind of mock-ups and designs. What we will have in the end is some policy or some ideas, insights to provide to the European Union on building new policies for the future of manufacturing. So that's pretty much the idea and the things that I have to tell you. I'm glad to answer questions you might have. Yeah, maybe, please.
Thanks. I have one question regarding this sensor.
Yeah.
How often did the workers press them, or how often were they supposed to press them? Like once a day, every hour, or every time I feel pressure, like 100 times in an hour?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
So what you find out is that there are people that like to have them hidden, and there are people that like to have them on showing. So, for instance, in the sewing factory, we found out that some sewers would like to have them on in the sewing machine, so everybody can see how many times they are clicking. And the other ones, they just have it there in their pockets, so no one sees how many times they are clicking. What we are doing is we are recording all the timestamps that people are, when the people are clicking or pushing the button. And in the end, well, maybe you can see it here. You can see, you are only seeing aggregated data, of course. This is a decision support system that only shows you, as a manager, aggregated data. This data you cannot see, it's just personal use only, and you are seeing how many times they did it. And you can see it all over time, how many times they did it, and which time of the day. And we know for sure that before lunch, people are pushing more. So there are there are a lot of things that we learn from this kind of habits that is very difficult to ask people what they do. So coming with solutions to measure it, it's quite nice.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
No. Great. I have a question for when you put in this exposure and effort thing.
Yeah.
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 So the effects, like especially productivity, how did you measure them? Like how many sewing things were produced in an hour?
Afterwards, we combine with this. Okay. So what you are seeing here is it's a inertial measurement. It's a movement of the very same task, two iterations of the very same task. You are unloading something, you are performing the task, and you are offloading. And then again, you do the unloading. So in the end, we combine as we have the timestamp. We know the exact time when this happens, and we can combine from the data provided by the environmental sensor. We combine this we combine everything into the same display, and we can understand the productivity. So, and if we know for sure that if the environment is too hot or too cold, this affects productivity.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be around for the rest of the day. If you have any questions or any things you would like to discuss, any thoughts, I'll be glad to discuss that with you. Thanks.